This is Amplify You, the podcast about you discovering your message and broadcasting it to the world. If you're a coach, author, or speaker, you'll want to tune in. If you're looking for the best return on your time investment to get your message out to the world in a bigger way, we're giving you full access and behind the scenes look of how we're running our podcast, how our clients have found success, and what you can do to launch your podcast today. The world needs your message. I'm Michelle Abraham, the host. Join my family as we unleash your unique genius and find the connections you need to launch your adventure today. Join us and let's get amplified. Hello, Amplify You family. Michelle Abraham, your host here today. I am joining you, you're joining me, whatever, we're joining each other on this episode today. It's a behind the mic interview. Today I have Kaine Pointin, and he is coming to us all the way from the UK. He is the host, He is the host of the Young Entrepreneurs Success Secrets podcast. So I'm super excited to have Kaine in here today. We've been trying to get this interview done for a few times now, so it just means it's going to be oh so good. So, all right, Kaine, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very good, thank you, Michelle. And that's a lovely little introduction there. But yeah, I'm doing amazing in the UK. It's always rainy, but today it's actually quite sunny. So something must be going on.
Right, I know. Same with Vancouver today. Not raining. Amazing. Right, we hit it right with our rainy countries and rainy cities that are nice and sunny for us today. That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about your, what was your idea to start your podcast? What got you inspired to start? And then tell us a little bit about the podcast itself.
Yeah, that's cool. So, what it was is I actually started a podcast. I would say almost over a year ago, and it's about laser tag. So it was a different podcast. It wasn't anything to do with what I'm doing now. I sort of started this sort of laser tag podcast to sort of help other people sort of actually understand our system. It was like the first ever laser tag podcast. So I was like, all right, let's do it. I went for like 23 days in a row live, and then that was season one. I just never ever got back to it ever again. But I had like loads of fun, like, doing it live and all that sort of stuff. Like, people comment, and then like I extracted it and then put it onto an audio platform and like iTunes and Apple and Google and all that sort of stuff. So I got into that, and that was great. And then obviously that was sort of during pandemic. And then my mum was starting her new business. So she got an existing business where she works with like a lot of women entrepreneurs. And she sort of started a business, and she was like, oh, I'm starting a podcast. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I was like helping her with her sort of business. So I stopped mine. I was like, okay, I don't need to do it anymore. I'm like, that's enough. That's enough laser tag. And then, a few months later, she was like, you should really start like your own podcast of like sharing your journey with like other people. And I was like, I'm not sure if I want to do that, Mum. She's like, no, it'll help so many people like around the world, like young entrepreneurs, people who want to start their own business but like have no idea how, or just listen, they listen to these other podcasts where people are like, yeah, I've made 100 million, but you actually don't know how they made it, and it's all like very secret stuff. So I was like, that's like a quite cool idea, Mum. Yeah, it sounds like quite cool. So I sort of started my podcast, but it was all mainly because of Evans, because I got his like training from Two Comma Club. And I'm sort of still in there now, and a year on later, he's amazing. But yeah, he was teaching all this cool stuff, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I started my podcast, and I think we're now on episode like 140. I think today is 141, or it might be 140. But I started like last year, sort of October, November-ish, my actual podcast for myself. But yeah, it all sort of originated when my mum began hers. And I was, that's really cool, Mum. Yeah. And she's like, you should do it. And I was like, oh. So then I did. But great fun, like I've met some great people. But my thing is more about sharing the journey of like actually starting your first ever online business, because I've managed a lot of businesses that already built. Like I manage a lot of brick and mortar businesses. Like we have like a massive adventure park with like laser tag and the high ropes sort of courses. We have international gaming businesses and nationwide like high laser tag businesses. So there's a lot of brick and mortar businesses we have already. So I've got a lot of experience managing those. I've never had any experience starting one up. So I was like, oh, okay, this is quite a cool thing. But yeah, it was mainly for myself. And like now, like with my business going, it's like amazing. It's all about sharing the the challenges will come along the way, because that's the important parts where people don't really actually get told. And there's probably an episode where I tell people that I almost gave up, and then 2 days later I got paid like $15,000 and I was like, I'm glad I didn't give up then. So it's like sharing that whole thing of you're not alone. And if someone else is out there and they're like, I feel alone, like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a young entrepreneur and I want to start my thing, but I don't know how. It's like, just listen to the podcast, just come along the journey. You don't have to like buy anything. Just listen to the journey, because you might go through that at some point. But I want to help other young entrepreneurs say, this is actually what it does really take to start with, like no customers, no reputation, no followers, like nothing, zero. I don't even know what to do. Like just see what I've done. And just sort of share that journey. And so far, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's cool. I love the idea behind the podcast too, because I think seeing people, you're right, there's like the social media version of what happens in business, and then there's like the real version of what happens in business. And it's nice to see that you're taking them on the real authentic journey with you, like the days you want to give up. And the entrepreneurial journey is very much like a roller coaster, and it's very some days are amazing, you make sales, some days suck because you have no customers, or or you can't get the technology figured out or whatever. So I love that you're taking them along this journey. So now you're a young entrepreneur as well. How old are you?
So I'm 21. A lot of people go, oh, you look 28, Kaine. Really? That's quite nice. But yeah, no, I look 21, and I am 21. But yeah, I'm 22, I think, in September. So it's not just a few months later and I'll be 22. But yeah, I just thought I'd like young entrepreneurs all the way.
Yeah, I think post-pandemic, there's so many new younger entrepreneurs wanting to start up their own businesses because they've seen what's happened with corporate, and a lot of people, like maybe their parents were laid off, or siblings or things like that. They've seen friends being laid off. It's I think there's some mentality now shift. I don't know. I know definitely here in North America. What about over in the UK? Is that something that more younger entrepreneurs are going? I think younger people are thinking about becoming an entrepreneur instead of just going to get a job.
I think there's a lot of people that go into young entrepreneurship, but they like don't go into a level of like wanting to scale it. And I've sort of seen that. Like mine, for example, like I know I could do, like at the moment I do like one-to-one like funnel build. I build people's funnels. For a high ticket sort of price, I get that one-to-one sort of immersive experience with my customers. Where I know a lot of other people are sort of not going high ticket, they're sort of going low ticket, but doing that one-to-one. So like when I see it, it's like I want to share with people the thing of, you don't have to do low ticket and do one-to-one. You can do low ticket and go to millions, and you can do really high ticket level, high concentration of work with clients, but at a high price. But I've seen it, like you just said there, is like what's going on. It's like I'm seeing a lot of high sort of over deliver, the experience of people, oh, this is amazing, but they're charging like £10 an hour what they would get if they worked in McDonald's. So it's like no, don't do that. You have bills to pay, but you also want to improve your life. So it's like that's what I stand for.
We really need to get out of the hourly mindset. I know when I first started my business too, I was helping, one of the things we're consulting on is I used to be in the fitness industry, and we were helping nutritionists and fitness professionals. When they came out of school, they got zero training on business, zero training on like marketing. And then they were so focused on the hourly rates that they're going to charge. So really getting out that mindset of like leveraging your time. And so it sounds like there's a lot of mindset shifting that needs to go on, because they think they want to start their own business, but they're still charging hourly.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. And it's the same thing, Michelle, when you said, because my mum's the good thing about mine is like I got my mum as a money mindset coach, so I'm like,
amazing.
Boom, I'm winning. So it's like with that, like it was the same thing in me of like, oh, what do I charge like hourly? Like I do mine all in packages, but like when I calculate stuff, I think, okay, how many hours does it take? Like I want to be a smart entrepreneur, not a stupid person who like doesn't really calculate and just goes, oh, whatever number. Like I want to be actually like calculating like what's the value for myself. And that's why I was like, oh, £50 an hour, or $50 an hour. And I realized I was like, that's just too low. But you only do that when you actually start to calculate. People go, oh, $50 an hour, that's great. But how many hours are you doing? You're doing 40 hours. It's not long for what this whole entire massive funnel you want built. But really you want to be charging like 300, 350. So, it's like you have to go differently. And I think with that, it's like a lot of people do get bogged down of like, what do I charge or do I undercharge? And that's like, I know for me, the environment I've been brought up in with like selling high ticket products in our businesses, I sort of didn't have that block as much. But I know a lot of people do get that block of like, oh, well, yeah, what do I charge? I don't know. Like,
or like, especially when they're just beginning, like, am I worth it? Or like, I don't have the experience. And then they get the imposter syndrome. It's like,
that value. You're like, do I value myself? And I was like, hell yeah, I value myself. I need to increase my price. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's like important for a lot of people, but even not just young entrepreneurs, just entrepreneurs in general.
For sure. I see people getting stuck on that all the time, and that money block, the money mindset. So is that what your mom coaches on women entrepreneurs on, is a money mindset?
Yeah. So she's like money mindset business coach. And she's sort of, she's all about sort of up empowering and up, like actually baking success into women's businesses. So that's like what she does. But I know like what she learns for like her sort of the women she works with on a high ticket level, she wants to, like I say, go on to a low ticket. So then she can hit more people and actually change, other successful women, entrepreneurs' lives as well. Like that's the whole point. But mine at the moment is like, I want to go high ticket, and then go, okay, I want to make some courses for the other people. Like, oh, how do I do this? And even people who are listening to this, they might have, sons or daughters or even family members, like husbands or wives who are like, actually, that'd be quite cool. Yeah, I would like to know that as well. Who want to build their own funnels, who want to build their own websites and do their emails and that sort of stuff. And it's like, wow, I want to bring a course out, I want to bring out these really cool things where it can help people learn those skills, where if they want to do it in their own business, they can, or if they want to become their own business, then they can do that for themselves and get paid. And they can be young entrepreneurs.
Yeah, funnel building was one of the first things that I started with too. It seems to be one thing that you can learn pretty easily, and it's something that a lot of people who are not tech savvy can do. So it's a really, really good skill to learn, because it's one that a lot of people are petrified of and don't want to go anywhere near those funnels and those systems and that thing. So figuring it out and being able to then do it. I really enjoy doing it because it's creative. It's like, you can make things look nice. There's so many great templates. So I love doing the funnels. They were so much fun. I fell in love with podcasting more. This is why my business went in that direction. I had to finally pick a lane because I was doing everything, right? So I think you're smart to have picked a lane early on and be known as the funnel guy, right? So for me, it was interesting when my friend said to me, she's like, oh, I love what you do, but I don't know what you do. So I'm like, oh, that if she doesn't know as a friend what I do, then that's a problem. So that's when I picked the podcasting lane. So that's something I just wanted to bring up for our audience, that's really important to pick something that you want to be known for, pick the one thing that you're really good at and do that at the beginning, instead of trying to do everything for everyone. At the beginning, like really pick that one skill. And it's interesting, so your podcast has only been live like less than a year, but you have 140 episodes. So you must be super gung-ho on going and recording and publishing them. So are you doing a couple of times a week?
Yeah, recently I've obviously where my like business is like just exploded, like an insane amount of sales and people like launching, like today we launched a summit funnel. Yesterday launched a whole entire summit funnel. Last week I launched like 3. It's just like, holy crap, man, I don't think I could do any more. I'm gonna be summing out myself. So it's like with that whole thing of like recently I sort of didn't hit the 5-day marker, and I sort of been doing 2, maximum 3 days. But I have started a 21-day challenge because I'm in the Russell's two comic. Actually, you were in, weren't you, Michelle?
No, I wasn't. I was in, and actually that's how Evans and I met, was in one of Russell Brunson's Facebook groups, actually. So he asked a question and I answered it, or I asked a question and he answered it, and then we interviewed each other on our podcast. And now we've been working together for almost 2 years. So yeah, you never know who you're going to meet online, right? And we've never met in person. And
what? That is insane.
And we live on opposite sides of of North America. He lives as far east as you can go in the US, and I live as far west as you can go in Canada. So we don't even live in the same country, yet we have a business together. So for my audience that doesn't know Evans Putman, make sure you go check out the interview where I interviewed him. And he's so amazing. And he's really, figured out he was really like, we were the missing keys for each other's businesses. So he's all about monetization. I'm all about launching and optimizing and managing your show. And then he's all about taking it to the next level, growing and monetizing it. So it's really a perfect situation.
No, Evans is amazing. That's like when I was like, oh, this is really cool. Because I never met you at the beginning, Shab. I was like, oh, what's this group? And then from there I was like, whoa, this group's amazing. Oh my God, I've met so many people.
Yeah, so the Podcasters Connect and Collaborate group that you were coming to meet other podcasters and connect with other podcasters that Evans and I run on Wednesdays. That was really awesome. That's where we got to meet too. And I was like, oh, it's so great to meet like a young entrepreneur. We don't meet very many of them. Most of the entrepreneurs I know are like on their second career or like, or they've been doing this for a long time like me. Like this is going on year 15 as an entrepreneur for me. So it's nice to meet young, new entrepreneurs that are really out there and you've found something that you love. You've created a really great business of it. You're getting paid well. Did you ever think that this was going to happen, like, after university, this is where your life was going to take a turn, or having an entrepreneurial mom has helped?
I think, both parents really, with I think with like, when I was like 8 years old, I was at international gaming conferences, with people who we've done deals with massive theme parks like Call of Duty, Halo, even places in America like Not Scary Farm, one of the biggest scare farms in the US, and people in Dubai, like we've done massive sales of like gaming equipment. And being sort of in that loop at a young age of like business and seeing business of like having staff teams I was running staff teams of like 10 people when I was 16. A 16-year-old running members of staff, being a manager. Like this is my office. This is one of my offices. Like it's just not normal, for a lot of other people. And like for me, like I've had that privilege as a very young age. And having that sort of experience and even doing like an apprenticeship. I've done business and marketing apprenticeship, and I can put my hands up now if I didn't really learn a lot from that. They literally done it for me. But now I've learned a lot myself, and I've been able to put myself out there. So it's like the whole education system of like all this other, go to uni, go to college. I'm like, just let it crap. Just don't work. You want to get in there really. And I think like I've had a lot of stuff from my parents. So they've like, I've seen stuff, that's really cool. I can make money that way. A lot of alternative ways, and surrounding yourself with the successful people, and one of those being Evans, one of you, being yourself, and being in the group where you're like, wow, these people make a lot of money. I want to know how I can do that as well. How can I be smart with my money? How can I be smart with my time? And being able to extract that out of people, and then obviously do it yourself, and then help other people as well. Mm-hmm. So it's like being in that area, I've been amazing, and like I never went to uni, I never went to college, I never went to sixth form. In the UK we call it sixth form, then it's college, and then it's university, but I never went to any of that. I just went straight in to apprenticeship, do like business and marketing, and from that I just cracked on, and then I was one of the directors of our other businesses, and now we've got that going on. I'm like, I want to start my own. Yeah, let's do it. So I just sort of go with it really. I don't really like get too knuckled down on, I must only do this thing. It's like, look, I could do that for a year, 2 years if I want, and I can just change my business completely. Yeah. I can do this if I want. I can sell that product. I can buy more staff teams. I can get someone to do that for me. Hence like my bio. Yeah, wow, that's going to be a person on that one.
That's okay. Kaine was supposed to send
that to Michelle. I was never sent some. I'm sorry.
His team failed him today. That's okay. I was able to pull.
I'll get started.
Yeah, it's all good. Not a problem. So yeah, I had an entrepreneurial dad too. And I think that really helped like my mindset, where I kind of always knew I wasn't going to go get a job, work for someone else. That really wasn't in my future. So it's so great to, do that when you're young. You have lots of energy. Like you said, you can always switch things up. Like this is 15 years in entrepreneurship, but like 4 different businesses, 5 different businesses in there. And it's nice. Like, I love that we have the freedom right now in our world to be able to, make up a career and do it. And just, I made up podcast management. Like, that was not a thing when we first started. Like, there was nobody I followed that was doing podcast management. And so it's really cool to be able to just kind of create your own business, create your own way of doing things. And I just love hearing from someone who's, documenting that journey. I think that's really important for people to go and listen to, because it's not a straight line journey. It's not a 1 year overnight success or a 2 year overnight success. It could be a 3-day overnight success, or it could be a 10-year overnight success. Right? Really, exactly. It's always an interesting path. So what's in the future for your podcast? You have plans on like coaching other people on how to start businesses, or what's your plan for your podcast?
So the plan, the whole point of the podcast is it's about creating my first ever online business to 6 figures. And obviously recently, where we've had massive amount of sales, probably will be hitting that quite fast. I think I'd probably actually officially launched my business, about 5 weeks ago. And I hit, I think 5 figures in 4 weeks. So I was like, okay, pretty good. Consistently on, the sort of recurring, and the people I work with as well, like amazing people. So when I look at the sort of projection of like, where am I aiming for? The whole point of the podcast, 6 figures, but, probably have to change that to 7, super soon. And,
that's
I think
2,
at that
right?
point, that's season 2. But I think at that point, I reckon it'll probably go into sort of, trying to help people. At the moment, like I said, I'm working this high level, high immersive, very one-to-one. You get access to me on Vox. I'm building your funnels, the dollars to build their funnels for them. That's because that's what I love to do. I love to help people, because I know there's a lot of people out there who don't know, and even in the group like we're in, Michelle, like there's people on there who have got a podcast, but when they get to a point and like, oh, actually, I've got all this traffic, but I need to send them to my list. How do I do that? You need a bit of funnel. You need to build like a website or a funnel. And a lot of people get stressed out by that. And that's why I'm like, oh, I'm here. I can help you. I know how to do it. I've built quite a lot of them, and there's a lot of easy ways. And that's why I like to help people. But I like to pick the people I like to work with. Like, I don't like someone who's like, I'm like, no thanks. Okay. No, thank you. You can go somewhere else. I like people who are just amazing, lovely to work with, and I just want to go out my way, and just talk to them really, like they're like my friends and like that sort of stuff. And I love working with people. But I feel like at the moment where it's going with that high ticket, it's going good. But I feel like we'll bring it down and probably go into some sort of course. That might be like a webinar sort of thing to help people who are like, I probably can't afford that fully at the moment, but I could probably do it myself. Can you teach me how? And that sort of teaching the how I would probably want to put together, which is cool, because I get to build that funnel, I get to build the thing and then record it and then sell it as well. So it's a win-win situation. But I think that's the next step. And then I think from there, it will sort of go into this sort of a mastermind sort of thing of people who want to sort of take it to the next level. But I know that when I first started my podcast, I tried to be like the Russell Brunson and the Steve Larsen. I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing, but I had no idea what I was actually doing. And I think like I'd done like 7 episodes and I was like, this is not me. So I just stopped it. And then I was like, okay, yeah, this is not me. And I sort of gave up. And this is actually what happened. You won't find these episodes, but it was 7 episodes in, and I just sort of stopped. I was like, this is not me. This is not what I want to do. I don't want to be someone else. And then a month later, my mum was like, just be yourself. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then I just cracked on. 140 later.
I think you found yourself.
Being yourself. Like, you don't have to be someone else. You don't have to pretend that you're a successful, person. You just be yourself. And then, once I accepted that for myself, I was then able to move forward. And that's sort of what's enabled me to be me and help other people, and people who resonate with me, because they're like, oh yeah, he's just being himself. Like, he just wants to help people, wants to just talk about his journey, not try and sell something that they don't even know what they're doing themselves. that's my main, that was my main thing. I didn't want to have that unethical part. But I feel like, you know, it's going in a good
great advice. I just want to pull that out for our listeners. Like, you know, you can't fake the authenticity. Like you said, after 7 episodes, you just couldn't do it anymore. And that's true. Yeah. And that's why a lot of podcasts fade after 7 to 12 episodes, is because they weren't being their authentic self and they weren't being like themselves. So have you found that your voice has gotten stronger though over those 140 episodes, and you've really like kind of dialed in, like, you know, really become yourself on those shows?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, because I know that there's a lot of people say, oh, have you found your voice? And, you know, have you... And I'm like, what does that mean? So a day I'm like, oh, I found my voice. You know, or it's like, do you know what you're talking about? There's literally some days, like even now, like 140 episodes in, I'm like, what do I talk about today? You know, like what have I actually learned? What have I done in my business today? I don't know. You know, and then you have to sort of think a bit deeper. But it's like, you know, people say, when will you find your voice? And I'm like, I think I found my voice, but I'm not sure. Like, you don't know. Yeah.
I always feel like it's like you find your voice when you feel comfortable. You feel comfortable talking, right? It's not uncomfortable anymore. It's not like a scary thing to have that voice out there and that opinion out there in the world, right? Where you can just be cool, be okay with it. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why, like, now when me and you have a conversation, I feel a lot, like, very confident, very comfortable. And I feel like now I can talk about, like, what matters to me, you know, like, of why I started this. And I think, like, now I feel like I've found the groove I'm in, the voice that I want to, you know, share with people, which is great. So I really do appreciate you, you inviting. It's been a few months, guys, by the way. You know, Michelle was like, I was like, Michelle, book in. And then, like, I don't know what happened. It's just, we weren't talking about it. I don't know what happened.
You a few times. You canceled me on me a few times. It was like,
last week I was like, oh yeah, that's fine, Michelle. Oh my God, Michelle, I forgot about this.
It's all good. We are here now and we've got a great interview, and thank you for being with us today. It's been awesome to hear your journey and how you're helping inspire other young entrepreneurs on their journey. And I just want to give a shout out. Where's your, let us know where else to find more information about what you're doing, what you're up to.
That's cool. Yeah. So if you want to find like information about the podcast, and like what I do, funnel building, that sort of stuff, you can just go to kainepointin.com, and on there you can just select if you want like funnel building, if you just want to like check out the podcast, even the stuff I use, you can check out what like the things I recommend, and I've actually gone through and tested, you know, so I've put that stuff together on my website, or sorry, I say in my funnel, and you know, it's you can check it out, but it's all free to access and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's kainepointin.com, and on there is the links to the YouTube stuff and the podcast, so it's just nice and easy.
Perfect, that's awesome. Can you spell your last name for us?
Yeah, so I spell my first name because a lot of people get it wrong. They spell it with C's, and I'm like, excuse me. So my first name is spelled as Kaine, and then my surname is spelled as Poin and then Tin. That's N for November, and it's .com. So yeah, you can check it out, and it's all my funnels I build, guys, as well.
Model what he's doing, see what he's doing. Awesome. Thanks so much, Kaine, for being here with us today. It's so great chatting with you. And Amplify You Family, make sure you go check out Kaine's podcast too. Successful young, you say it, Kaine. Successful
young entrepreneurs. Secrets podcast.
Secrets. Yes. Thank
Such
you.
a long name. I had to get the domain. I was like, you know what? I'm never going to use that domain.
No, at least it's searchable names, right? Searchable keywords. All good. All right. Well, have a great one, Kaine. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Cheers, Michelle.
I Amplify You Family. See you next week.